the Legends of Iron. I'm Jon Andersen. Meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a Legend of Iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore Pure Beef Protein Icing. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein. And don't forget to try our new Carnivore flavor, Rocket Pop.
Oh, damn. Whoa, this is it right here.
Wow, this is protein? Delicious.
This is too good to be protein. Woo, we about to change the game with this one.
You're gonna love it. Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. I'm Jon Andersen. With me always my partners in crime, Nick Best and Akeem Williams, who unfortunately can't be here today, but it's going to be all right because we have got a killer guest for you today. You look at this guy and you say, holy shit. Then you watch him lift and you say, holy shit. And then you see how strong of an overall individual he is. And you say, holy fucking shit. And I got to tell you, Brandon Allen, we are jacked to have you on the show, brother. How are you
I
today?
appreciate you guys having me. I think probably the first thing people think when they see me is he needs a shave and a shower. But sure, they might be impressed with my strength too.
No one thinks you're homeless.
I'm telling you, brother. You know, it's that beard and the way that you train and the way you lift fit together perfectly. You know, you remember Doyle Kennedy way back when?
I definitely remember the name. I'd have to look at footage.
He was a Northwest guy, but you know, this was back before there was not a whole lot of documentation of powerlifting. But dude, you remind me so much of him. He was like one of the kingpins in the Northwest. So
he was the first guy to deadlift 900 pounds.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys don't have high expectations for me, I hope, because it sounds like some big shoes to fill.
You're not far off from there. But
oh shit.
855 is pretty close.
Oh yes, huge. So strong as can be, absolutely strong, and strong as can be. When you look that way, it's that much better, brother. It's just
I hear you.
know?
I hear you. Yeah, luckily I have a beautiful wife. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be allowed into many establishments.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. She's an angel.
That's true,
well, brother. Take us back to the beginning. What brought this all to a head? What actually sparked this big bearded badass motherfucker to come into the world the way you are?
Sure. Yeah. So, I grew up in LA and, just around that beach scene, you always want to be big and jacked and tatted.
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of like how it started. And I was a knucklehead when I was a kid, always in trouble, fighting all the time. Strength made fights a lot easier. So, that's kind of what got me motivated in the gym world. And then I was always strong. I played football in high school. I played a little bit of junior college football as well. I was always the strongest guy on the team, no matter what I did. At all the gyms, I was the strongest guy. And then when I was around 22 years old, I was living out in San Diego doing power line construction and, still going to the gym, maintaining 300 pounds body weight, working 80 hours a week. And there were some dudes in there that were doing this thing called powerlifting. I thought it was like some stuff.
Hold on. Forgive me, brother. Did you say you were working 80 hours a week, maintaining 300 pounds?
Maintaining 300 pounds, training every other day.
Yeah. Holy shit.
My guy's 22 years old. You know what I mean? You get away with a lot then. And, you can run that gas tank on zero all the time, right? Things have changed. I would work out with these dudes at the local 24-hour fitness, and they would do this powerlifting stuff, and I didn't know anything about it, and I was obviously benching way more than them. I wasn't deadlifting without straps ever, because why would I, and my squats were high as shit because you didn't need to really squat below parallel when you're just a gym bro, right?
Yeah.
So I trained with these guys for a few months, and then I did my first powerlifting meet, won the thing, and I was told I was qualified for Worlds. I didn't know what any of this means. And it's in Las Vegas. And I'm like, all right. So I was living in San Diego at the time. So you trained for a few more months. I went to Las Vegas. I totaled around like 1,900 or something like that. My second meet ever, raw. And then I was completely addicted from that point on. I went on to compete in the LA Fit Expo for 5 years in a row. Every year would add 100 or so pounds to my total, until I started getting in there those big numbers where I'm now knocking on the door, Stan Efforting, and guys like that who were just mammoth idols of mine. Like I didn't think I would ever be at that level. And then meeting Nick. Nick was someone I used to watch on World's Strongest Man every Christmas morning when I was a kid growing up. Here I am now amongst these guys as peers and training with them and hanging with them in weights. And that's when I started kind of realizing, all right, there might be something to this. I think I might be a little more genetically gifted than most people, and I'm definitely tougher than I'm smart. So I know I'll do what most people won't. So I started training, real hard, and I ended up breaking Stan's record, who was the top guy in Vegas at the time. It was a 2,300-pound total. I'd broken that, and now I got the attention more of the. I already had a little bit of attention in the powerlifting world, but now this really started putting a spotlight on me as an up-and-coming super heavyweight. From there, things just got silly. I started training under Chad Wesley Smith, Juggernaut training style program. If anyone's familiar with it, it's very sports specific, very rigid. It's a ton of work.
Chad's a smart guy too.
Yep.
Really
high
smart
frequency,
guy.
high volume, lower intensity stuff. Looks horrible for Instagram, but works on the platform, right? And I absorbed everything I can. Yeah, right. The gram. Well, I absorbed everything I can from Chad, learned as much as I can from him, my time I had with him. I would communicate. I probably bugged the shit out of him. I'm sure I was probably one of his most annoying clients because I just wanted to know everything and watched all the content, whatever. And so I started learning how to make a living doing this as well, just through branding myself. Oh, I guess I kind of skipped a little bit. In 2015, I opened up my first gym. I started Filthy Power Gym, a small little 1,200 square foot complex up in North Las Vegas, right by Nick Best's house, up where I live as well. And out of that,
that's the best kind of place right there. The small, just hot, sweaty, get in there and get dirty. That's what it's all about.
Well, I actually had AC, so I'm not going to act like we're hardcore. It gets to 115 out here in Vegas.
In Vegas, you got to have it. Nobody's putting that kind of weight on their back if it's 125 in your building.
You're not keeping your lunch down. That's for sure. So so the gym, started picking up my brand, Filthy Power, and the merchandise was kind of picking up, and I'm like, it still wasn't enough money to sustain myself, but learning everything I learned from Chad and then applying it, and then applying my own principles, and I learned coaching is the way to do this thing, and I fell in love with coaching. So here I am now, putting up world-class numbers and training people and getting up to that level myself. So I was all in, all in the strength world and pushing the limits in terms of health. So I would I learned that the bigger I got, the stronger I got. So, I'm 6'1". I probably maybe had like a 275-pound frame, and I was up to 370 pounds at my largest. So,
you're a big boy.
Yeah, I pushed the numbers very, very hard. And, eating 8 to 10,000 calories daily for 5 years straight. Just no life, fitness, powerlifting only. Sleep, eat, and train, and did programs. That's it. I didn't go out to the bars. I didn't go out to dinner with people. I didn't do anything. I was very selfish. It was probably pretty miserable for my wife. Bless her heart that she stuck with me through all that bullshit. And because now we live a pretty fun life, right? So, the numbers kept going up. I started getting invited to these bigger meets, money on the line. And then not just the exposure is mainly, I'm sure you guys understand, the exposure can be just as valuable as that paycheck just because the money you can make from the exposure continuing on. So I had that, just total addict, just chasing every PR, every pound, didn't care about anything else and didn't care about my health or how injured I was or anything like that. So suffered a ton of injuries throughout the way. I learned a lot. 2016, I had a pretty bad health scare, coughing up blood on the platform, had some stomach bleeding from orals and things like that, and just being super toxic. Kind of revamped, came in 2018. I made a return, and this was like a smart return in 2018. I was definitely listening to Chad a lot more. I was not pushing the gear nearly as hard as I was prior, and I was getting stronger. I was like, well, that's weird. Sometimes less is more, and there definitely is a medium that works better. So,
you get too toxic, everything kind of works against you.
Yeah, and when you're not sleeping, you're not eating, then everything you need for recovery goes out the window, and now you're just trying to pump more gas while you're never slowing down. It's Yeah, you're asking for problems, and I experienced them. Let's not get it wrong. So 2018, I competed at the Kern event where I squatted 975 pounds, and probably the toughest squatting competition in the world when it comes to judging depth, when it comes to wobbly stage. Nick, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was a rough. Yeah, it was a rough platform.
It's a little sketchy up there when it's vibrating and you're shitting.
And the whole stage is rocking with you.
Yeah. That's not good.
Anyone that remembers that meet knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was a scary day. I went on to I already dominated the whole super heavyweight class. I already had the highest total. And I was competing against Yuri Belkin from Russia, who is kind of the Wilks king. No one could beat him in the Wilks formula. The big money meet was over Wilks. If you won the whole thing over Wilks, which is a formula that favors a lighter weight guy, you won 40 grand. If you got second place, you won 10 grand. So I'd already secured the 10 grand. Going into my last deadlift, I think I had only pulled 825 in training. And then my third attempt, I went 887 pounds, and it flew. I locked it out and everything. And then on the way down, I just dropped the bar on the way down.
My God, that's the worst of all.
It's the worst. I'm pretty notorious for that $30,000 drop, because that's what it cost me, was 30 grand to drop the bar like that. I've reran it in my head so many times. Why didn't I just run the bar down? Like, oh dear, Jesus, nightmare. So I remember, so that kind of now I'm on that big platform. I just hit a 2380 total. Definitely was capable of more. I think I went like 5 for 9 on the day or something like that. And then I got the call for big dogs in Australia. Mind you, I've had the call for big dogs the last 2 years prior, but I'm not interested in flying across the country or across the world if I don't.
Going to Australia is a brutal flight.
It's a bitch. Yeah, it's not.
It's like 15 hours.
Yeah, it was 16 hours there and like 15 back or something like that, or the wind, maybe the other way around. But so now I was finally in a position where my health was decent, my strength was there, and I was ready to win that meet. I was ready to break the all-time world record. At the time, Andrei Mahalichev had the record. It was 517 pounds, which stood for like 3 years at 25. It was 2,517 pounds, which stood for like 3 years. I was definitely capable of breaking that record if ever the stars aligned, you know what I mean, type of thing. So I was also on track to be the first one to squat 1,000 and pull 900 in the same meet, in a raw meet. Mm-hmm. So let's get into that meet. Went up there, had a decent day. I think I went 6 for 9 on the day. Went for the home run for the third. I could have secured second place in that event and beating Odell Manuel, who was actually suffered a hamstring injury his opening deadlift. I didn't feel right beating up on someone that was injured and taking a spot for them. And to be honest, I didn't go all the way to Australia to get third or second place. I went to get first place. So we did the math, and 900. It was 898 pounds is what I needed to beat Peter Petrus from Czech Republic. And I said, yeah, fucking let's send it. So I went 900 pounds and got it right up to that point above the knee where some people can grind. That's a real hard sticking point for me. And I was seeing stars, and it was either go to sleep or let go of the bar, right? So that's kind of what happened with that one. Ended up getting third place with a 2430 total. It's the strongest podium to ever exist in powerlifting. May be the strongest total to ever exist in powerlifting for the longest time, or for a long time in terms of the podium. You know, getting a 2430 third place is unheard of, right? So
no shit, Jesus.
Here I am now, top of the world. I know I'm capable of doing this, being the world champion, breaking that all-time world record and everything. We get home from Australia. I had already suffered some knee pain, some knee damage. I had a partial tear in my patella tendon, which, you know what I mean, fucking up the BCP 500 and the TB 500 and start doubling the dose of growth hormone, and we'll get through this, right? So that was my mentality, and that's what I did. Prepping for the next Kern 2019, I was training to squat. In my head, I was going to squat 1,050 at that meet. There's no question about it. I knew it was going to happen. I just super confident, super arrogant. And training, I hit, it was, we're 10 or 11 weeks out, and I hit a 925 pound squat, which in the hole of that squat, my quadricep completely detached from my knee, rolled up in my hip, caved in on me. And then I still stood up to depth with 925 pounds with one leg. It's got to be a world record squat or something. Get Dennis, whenever you're ready to call me, I'll get the video. I
still can't believe you did that.
Well, real quick, back up, brother. Kind of for you know, most people cannot really even fathom what it feels like to bear that kind of pressure in a squat when you're physically sound. So kind of walk us through that. You're at the bottom of that squat and you feel something go wrong. Tell us what was going through your mind.
So I knew this was going to happen going into this day, but this is, like I said, I'm tougher than I'm smart. I knew it wasn't going to hold. It just had that pit in my stomach where, you know, and then we got Iron Rebel, my sponsor at the time, out Andy Hong, a huge Asian guy, and we got Nick. He may have been there, I believe. There's a big crew in there, and I'm a showman. You know what I mean? I like making it. I like the everyone laugh, and I like all eyes on me. I don't want to disappoint. So. I think it was 887 I just took, which was like my first wrap set. I usually go up to, I'm a guy that I don't like wraps. I wear them very loose. Wasn't a big tight wrap guy. I would hit 804 in sleeves, and then I would go up to my top 800 sets and wraps going into the 900s, right? So the 804 flu.
It's fucking crazy, brother.
Yeah.
He's fun to train with.
Yeah. So the 804 flew. I was confident. My first set with the 887, something went wrong in my knee. I felt something pop or something. I'm standing outside. I'm talking to my wife. She's like, "Stop it. We're done. Like, just shut it down. Like, you got to meet in 11 weeks. Like, you just shut it down, rest, and then you'll do." I mean, no, I got to hit the fucking squat. You know what I mean? And we go in there. We wrap up my knees the whole time in my head. This ain't gonna go good. I pick up the weight, and then now I get confident. Like, I don't know how you guys are, but right before a lift, I have all the self-doubt in the world. I'm, what am I doing? This is stupid. Why don't I just go get like a real job?
I'm getting too old for this. That's what I tell myself.
Maybe I want. Like, this is fucking dumb, man. And it's over 900 pounds. This is stupid. It's crazy. And then I pick it up and everything blocks out. And I'm just like, fucking, let's go. I'm going to murder this fucking thing.
That's right.
Yep.
So, it's that fight or flight. You know, before you pick it up, you're in flight. You pick it up, it's fight.
Yeah, now it's time to go, right? You're walking away at this point. And me being the meathead that I am, I would always squat out of the monolith, but walk it out. I would never use the monolith because the guys before us walked it out, and I would feel weird taking a record from Kirk Kowalski or someone like that who walked out all their squats. So that's just the mentality I had, old school, and wanted to do it the way the big guys before me did it. So I walk out the 925, super confident, ready to go, get down in the hole. Mind you, at this time with my strength, 925 should go down up, like very quick, very fast. And I get down to the hole, and then my knee pops, like bop, 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 3 or 4 pops. I hear it caves in on me. I'm like, oh shit! And then I'm still driving up, and I stand up with it, and it was really slow. So everyone's kind of like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, that shouldn't be slow for Brandon. And then we rack it in, and I'm like, oh, my fucking knee. My wife pulls the knee wrap off my knee, and then I feel all my muscle roll up into my hip.
Come up. Oh,
yeah, it just sucked up. And so,
that was
this is how stupid I am. I'm like, well, this isn't that bad. We got 11 weeks. We'll be all right. So I sit down in a chair. I'm looking at it. My kneecap is over about 3 inches, almost the inside of my knee. There's no muscle. I'm like, mind you, I had like 34-inch quads at the time. I was 365 pounds, just massive meat, you know. There's no muscle on the side of my leg, but I don't understand what's going on. You know, I'm like trying to, justify what's happening. My friend Derek White was there, who, if you guys know who he is, he's an amputee. So he had crutches already in his car for me. So he brings me in crutches. We get out of there, and I go home. Mind you, my leg's detached. I don't know this yet, though. I don't really understand what's happening. I'm getting around the house on my buddy's crutches. I'm like, man, I can't put any weight on my fucking leg. This is weird. This is on a Friday. I can't see the specialist till Monday. So I have a personal relationship with my doctor, as I think maybe all top-level guys that are in the doctor all the time do. So, I text him and I let him know what happened, and I sent him the video, and he goes, I need to see you first thing Monday morning. Okay, so all weekend long, I'm just in my head like, oh, we'll be fine. I'm fucking slamming peptides into my fucking knee. Oh, it's going to be healed. We'll get through this. We get to the doctor, waddling in there on crutches, and he's having me do some tests, and he's like, lift your leg up. So I'm like, I stand up and I put all my weight on my left leg, and I like use my hip to throw my leg forward. He's like, no. And he holds my hips. He's like, lift your leg up. I'm like, oh shit, I can't. It was a very strange feeling. Because he just wouldn't do what I wanted to do. I wiggle my toes and everything, different muscle, right? But I couldn't move my leg up. So he's like, yeah, Brandon. He's like, you separated your quad. You tore your quad off the bone. I'm like, no, it's my knee, doc. It's probably like an MCL here. I'm trying to act like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. He's like, no. He's like, your quad's torn off. I'm like, well, How bad is it? I can still do my meet, right? And then he's like, listen, dude. He's like, if you don't get this thing repaired, you'll never walk again. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm like, how long am I looking at? He's like, it'll be a year before you squat this big weight again. And that just killed me, like mentally. I'm like, what the fuck? Like a year? This is all I do. I'm a fucking degenerate. That
the walls start collapsing at that point.
Eats too much food and works out. And now he just took away the working out from me. So tough pill to swallow. And then I just try to wrap my head around it and understand, all right, we're having surgery. This is going to be rough. I'm stuck on the couch. My wife works, she's a massage therapist. She's gone 4 days a week, 10 hours at a time. So here I'm at 360, just can barely do anything on my own, right? Already I'm a fat piece of shit, have a bidet in every bathroom in our house because you can't even reach your ass to wipe. And hold on 1 second. Let me take care of this.
No worries, brother. Dude, that's crazy stuff. Oh my God.
It's pretty crazy what he went through. There's questions.
With that weight.
No, he made it up. It was pretty amazing.
Dude, when you were gone, Nick and I were just discussing how fucking crazy that you came up with that weight, with that injury.
Oh yeah, it surprised me.
God. Dude.
It surprised me. Watching the video, I'm like, how did that happen? That shouldn't have happened. Like
got it into the rack and then collapsed.
Yep.
Damn.
It was like, oh my God.
So we get the knee repaired. I'm just kind of absorbing everything and working on what my new life is going to be like for the next year. And I realize it's going to be a lot of rehab and things like that. So mind you, I'm still completely obsessed. I'm going to break that all-time world record. Nothing's changed mentally in terms of that. And then about 4 months after the knee getting repaired, I'm riding my Harley to work, to my gym, and I get T-boned at 50 miles an hour, at 330 pounds on a Road King, or I'm sorry, my Road Glide, excuse me, and the guy didn't see me. So T-bones me. I break my pelvis. I crushed 5 vertebrae in my spine. I tore my rector, crushed my left elbow. Every ligament in my left leg was completely torn in the socket, so I had no movement out of my left side of my body. They thought I was paralyzed. I couldn't feel my legs for I think 6-7 hours until finally I started getting feeling back in my legs.
Shit.
So it was a tough one. It was a tough one. And then you got to call your wife, right? So that sucked. So here I am. Now my bad knee is my good knee because my left leg is completely torn. And now I'm just trying to understand what is going to happen. And the person that hit me is not a legal citizen. So you can imagine how that worked out for me financially. Yeah, it's tough. It was a tough time for me. It was a huge hit. I definitely got super depressed after that. Didn't know what to do. I just opened this new big gym, and my way of promoting is training and being in the gym, and that's all gone. So it was tough, man. I was broken. I was definitely broken. But what are you gonna do, right? Like you got life goes on, and then I'd feel sorry for myself like a pussy. And then I got all these friends that are missing limbs that went to war for us and fought for our freedom. I look at them, I'm like, what is wrong with me, you freaking pussy? Like, you got everything else going for you. Like, you got a couple setbacks. Who cares? Move on. And that's what I try to do. And I believe I did. So, mind you, this whole time I've lived in Vegas, I've been good friends with Eric Spoto. I'm sure you know the name. Eric Spoto, the world champion, held the all-time world record for several years till Julius Mattis came up and broke it. I think maybe Krill broke it first and then Julius. But anyways, Eric is also a world champion or world-class level strength arm wrestler as well from professional arm wrestling. So a lot of people don't know that about Eric, but he arm wrestled way before he was into benching.
Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. You can find tournaments of Eric Spoto back in early 2000 and stuff like that, arm wrestling, smashing people. So here I have Eric in my head, with his arm wrestling stuff. And now I have this big gym. We're hosting arm wrestling practices at my gym. I'm not really attending. I think it's cool, but I know I can't arm wrestle and bench press together. It's just not possible. Too much elbow pain from arm wrestling that you won't be able to bench. So in my head, I was still a power lifter. So, but now, now I'm pretty fucking broken. You know what I mean? And the chances of putting 1,000 pounds on my back are getting slimmer and slimmer by the accident, right? What's going to happen in the next few months?
I remember seeing you after that accident, and you were just walking black and blue. I mean, just like half your body was black and blue after that accident.
Yeah, my whole
This is
lower
nuts.
back, the whole back of my half was black and blue for months. It took a long time for the blood to kind of seep out. It was brutal, man. Like the doctor told me, she was a nice little Indian woman. She comes out, she's like, "Sir, I don't want to offend you, but if you weren't so big and muscles, you would be dead. Your back would be shattered." And I was like, you don't offend me. I'm like, I spent a lot of money to be this big. So, thank you.
Yeah. What a time. You sacrificed a 5-year period of your life. I mean,
8 years. 8 years of my life was just pure powerlifting, and putting on mass. So I guess it paid off for something. God had something in plans for me.
That's right.
And knew my dumb ass was going to be on that motorcycle and get
That's
hit.
right. You know, your wife was, you were saying you're thankful your wife stuck it out. Well, you know, shit, that's probably what kept you alive. So it's weird
100%.
how our plans kind of unfold the way they're supposed to, you know?
Yeah, we all have a plan, but life has other plans for you. It doesn't give a fuck what you want. So,
That's right.
That's very true.
if you're not able to adapt and improvise, then life's going to leave you behind. You know,
100%.
So here I am now, still in the gym, still obsessed with training. I'm a competitive guy. Before I got into powerlifting, I would go to the bars and get in fucking brawls, like and before that I played football. So I needed something to do that would keep me sane and let me just test my will against another man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going to the bars is fun until you're paying lawyers everything you make, and then it's no fun anymore. You get too familiar with that. And so arm wrestling just kind of happened where I have these guys trained at my gym. I have access to some of the best in the world. And then because of my platform that I built through powerlifting social media, I have access to all these other top level arm wrestlers that are interested in me through that alone. And, champions like champions, right? So you're going to, I was just very fortunate to have access to a lot of people. So I just got enveloped into arm wrestling. It took everything. I'm obsessed with everything I do. I don't do anything small. Everything I do it to the max.
That's the way to do it, brother.
Right?
That's the way
I
to
started
do
training
it.
arm wrestling. It's been 2 years now that I've been involved. Coming up in 2 years now, I've been involved in professional competitive arm wrestling, however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I did a tournament a few months into training. I did a tournament in Utah. I won the whole thing left and right hand. I got challenged on my first super match, which in the arm wrestling world, there's tournaments, which are like bracket style tournaments where you can pull multiple times in a day. And then there's super matches where it's like best out of 5 or the best out of 6. One guy or two guys against each other. And you're going to see who's better, who's got better power, who's got better endurance, better game plan, all these kind of things. So I got challenged in my first super match. I go to San Diego. I pull Dave DePew, who's a 15-year vet in arm wrestling. I beat him 3-0. And then now I got some attention on me, right? And and then I get the call from our good old buddy Larry Wheels. I'm sure we all know who Larry Wheels is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring this up. I'm like,
Larry's about a year advanced.
Brother, you're doing such a fucking great job storytelling. This is fucking perfect.
I love talking. If you haven't noticed.
Oh, brother, this is fucking perfect. I mean, just keep on going, baby. This is
yeah.
I mean, sometimes we got to really try to get people to do this. All this said is tell me how it started, and here we go. It's fucking.
I'm
great.
pretty fucking awesome. Just ask me, I'll tell you. Larry Wheels reaches out, and me and Larry competed with each other in powerlifting. So we've been friends through just social media talking, and obviously I've always been a huge fan of Larry and all his accomplishments and success. We started at a level neck and neck. He just kept, you know what I mean? So ton of respect for the guy. Built his brand. He's living the dream. But he also has something that not everyone has. He's probably the most dedicated athlete in the world. Doesn't have a life other than gym. Besides the point. Larry has been involved in arm wrestling for about a year longer than I have at this time. And then he's hosting this huge event out in Dubai where he lives called King of the Table. He asked me if I would want to be his opponent in King of the Table 2, which would, awesome, 2 backgrounds, 2 world-class powerlifters now joining a new sport, relatively same time, experience, and, a huge promotion. Now, mind you, they picked me because I looked the part. I had the background, I had the story, I had the social media, but I wasn't supposed to win this match. Everyone thought Larry was going to whip my ass, and it was funny.
I didn't.
Yeah, see, if you know me, you know how retarded I am and how obsessed I'm going to be with my training to where there's no way I'm allowing that to happen. My arm would have to break or a tendon would have to snap. So
I've actually watched you practice a couple times.
Right, yeah, I get pretty crazy in practice. So I get the call from Larry now.
Real quick, on that level, you're saying you got the look and all this stuff. If Sylvester Stallone makes a fucking over the top 2, you got to be in that motherfucker for sure.
So you seen over the top 2. You remember the guy eating the cigars and
yes.
what's his name in the movie? Grizzly, John Grizzly.
Yeah.
His real name is Bruce Wade. I know him personally now through arm wrestling. So
That's
I'm at an arm wrestling event in
awesome,
San Diego, and this guy, and like, oh, that's the guy from Over the Top 2. You know what I mean? And he sees me, and the people like everyone always says they look at you. So we get along great. Now we chat here or there. Super cool guy. Bruce Wade's his name. Love the dude. Definitely a crazy motherfucker. Like there's no behind that. He said he legit ate the cigar and legit drink motor oil in that video scene. So yeah, he was a stunt man. You know what I mean? And an arm wrestler.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, but if anyone out there is doing Over the Top 2, let me know. I can be your guy. You know?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I get the call from Larry. The internet is just Larry's got 2 million followers that don't know much about arm wrestling, and that's their boy. You know what I mean? So the internet's just ripping on me. Why are you taking this match? It's so stupid. You're going to get destroyed. And I use all that for feel. I love being the underdog because I can obsess over shit very well. So I just visualize, like I did this in powerlifting. I would visualize myself getting under big weight and just getting stapled to the floor, looking like an idiot for even attempting that weight. And I would use it in training. I'd almost get emotional, almost in tears right before a big squat. So I was like, oh, it's not going to fucking happen. So I use the same thing in training for arm wrestling. I would just see myself up there just getting flash pinned by Larry over and over again. My wife will tell you how obsessed I can get. I was in the garage for 2 workouts a day, 4 hours almost each workout. One of them was more like 3, one was like 4.5. So just completely obsessed and training to make sure I didn't go out there and embarrass myself in Dubai. We go out there. It was an experience. Mind you, it's a much different country than we're used to over here. Their values are much different. Their views to women, everything. It's just different. You know what I mean? It was a good experience. Don't get me wrong. Just very eye-opening. Much, much different than what we're accustomed to. Made you really miss where we live and wanted me to get. I wanted to get home. But the overall experience was great. Larry and this whole team were very accommodating. It was a blast. So me and Larry have our match. It at first looks like it's going Larry's way. Anyone that knows arm wrestling can know, like, oh shit, Brandon's gassing him out very bad. This is a 6-round match. Larry's going to be in a lot of trouble in these later rounds, which is exactly what happened. I lost to Larry the first 2 rounds in a row, but I knew in my head that it was over. I already knew. So I'm walking over my wife in between going into the next round.
So real quick, brother, sorry for interrupting you. For myself included, I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't understand. Like you talked about game plan. So tell us what your game plan going into this 6-round match was.
Sure. So I knew I wasn't going to outpower Larry. I knew Larry was going to have more horsepower because he benches almost 700 pounds. I bench press around, I almost bench press 600 pounds, but right now I'm around 500. So I knew the strength gap in terms of power was big, and Larry was going to have a lot more upper body power. I also know Larry Wills is notorious for poor stamina. I'm like I said, I'm a Larry fan. I watch all his videos. I can see where he can't even stand talking to video. He's always leaning on something. I know he's got that back pump. I know he's a lot bigger than he should be for his frame. So I knew that my game plan was going to be to out and endure him. So the training that I was doing power movements, of course, because you need to close that power gap a little bit just so you're even in it. But I knew endurance was going to be my game. So all my training was focused on time under tension, very high, just long rep sets, and then high frequency. I would do it several times a day so that my arm would get used to blowing up and then getting the blood out of it. That's how arm wrestling, once your hand and arm blow up, you're kind of useless. You got a limp hand up there. You got to keep going. And the other guy, if he's not blowing up, he's doing whatever he wants with you. And that's exactly what I did to Larry. So I knew that.
So how long were the first 2 matches?
The first match was probably like 5 seconds, which 5 seconds redlining power. So Imagine that. So I knew Larry was done after the first round. He even told me at the end we all talked. I knew he was done at the first round. The second round, it was about a 10-second match. I made a mistake and Larry pinned me. It was a mental error, which I knew exactly right when I did. I was like, okay, great. I know that's a bad lane because arm wrestling, for those of you who don't know, there's like lanes and angles that someone might be real strong in this lane. You get their wrist turned over a little different, they have no power. You get something moved different, they have no power. So I felt this lane that Larry had a ton of power. I knew stay the fuck away from that lane. And now I was super confident in what I was doing. I walked over to my wife. you kind of see the look of panic a little bit in her face. And I'm like, I won. It's over. She's like, it's over. I'm like, I promise you, it's over. I'm gonna win every round from here on out. And so now, like, she's like, okay. She's like, all right. So
real quick, brother, what did you sense? What did you feel like you're talking about? So what did you feel in those first two that told you it's fucking lights out for the next
fatigue
four?
in his hands? I can just tell.
You can feel in his hand.
Yeah, when we're gripping up, he's hanging on to me, and it feels like a fat kid's hand,
really?
covered in Oreos and chocolate milk that can't even. So
really?
I just knew he had
nothing. You
nothing
can feel
left.
it in his hand. You can
I
really
can
feel
how swollen his hand was and how
No
weak
shit.
it was. And I knew my hand was swollen too. Don't get me wrong, but I knew I was nowhere near that. He's on the side huffing. He's got guys helping him, killing all those things. I'm just over there talking to my wife like, fucking, hey, dude, this is just over. I can't wait to get back on the table. I'm back on the table before the clock's up. I'm like, come on, let's go. I'm trying to speed it up. I'm just getting in Larry's head so I can see how done he is and how checked out he is. And I'm like, come on, let's go, run it. Let's go. Let's run it.
Yeah, you got to get it back in there, baby.
Yeah. So the next time we go at it, I gas him. I come in with a press. He did a good move and countered me. I dropped back out, gassed him some more, came up, pressed, and then I knew it was over. So I pinned him. I look at the crowd. I'm like, it's a wrap. So
when you say gas him out, what does that mean? You're letting him go with just you're kind of like playing defense. You mean?
Sure. I have a very, very strong defensive lane. My offense isn't as good as my defense. So if I can gas someone out, then I can kind of do whatever I want because now it doesn't matter how good my offense is. They're so blown, it doesn't mean anything.
So he's basically trying to finish you, but you know that you can stop him from doing it. So he's going wide open, and you're saying, "Keep it going, babe. I'm gonna chew you up."
Yep.
That's
and I'm using different muscles, and I'm using different muscles out here than I use out here to finish it. So I'm not even tired out here yet. So I'm like, yeah, keep on gassing out, big boy. Let's go. And then mind you, as you know, I like to talk. I like to talk shit too. So prior to this and all the filming, I'm busting Larry's balls. I'm not letting him get comfortable. We do a press conference. I'm interrupting him the whole time, getting him to stutter and shit. And like, I can be a bully, right? So and I knew that would work to my advantage because of my style of defensive arm wrestling and his style of power arm wrestling. He just wants to finish it, which works great for me because don't make any adjustments. Just keep going in that lane. Yeah. And I'm going to keep stopping you and taking your power. And that's what I was doing. So like I said, once I got him tired enough, I knew, okay, it's over now. Now I'm using a whole different set of muscles to press, which aren't fatigued at all. Boom, pin him. I look at the crowd. It's a wrap. I know it's over. Now it's 2-1. I go over to my wife and I tell her, I'm like, it's done. I'm just going to flash pin him off the go on the next one. So she's like, all right, let's see it. Let's go. So I get back on the table. I'm like, come on, let's go. Check the time. What the fuck? Like I'm talking shit, just getting in his head because I know he's muffing. So we get back up there. We set up and right off the go. I come in with a shoulder press, flash pin him. Boom. So now it's 2-2. I know at this point, he's mentally done. I can just see it in there. Yeah. Done. So I'm excited. I'm talking shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, man, I can't wait to get out there and go fuck my wife and he's done with it. So I'm all fucking jacked up.
The ego is like beyond any place. It's just like
the ego's much bigger than my penis at this point. So we get back up there. We get back on the table, and I know I want to. This is I kind of thought I was going to come and just press him again. But in my head, I was like, well, let's see if I can try something else. So we get back. I start holding him, gassing him again. And then I can just tell I'm pretty tired now at this point. I know he's completely done. I'm like, let's not waste any more time. So I gas him over, get my shoulder behind it, press him. 3. Now it's 3-2. The last one going into it, I in my head, I had this big plan. I'm like, I wanted to try just going into Larry's power lane and seeing if I can beat him in his own lane. But I would have felt real fucking stupid if I had gotten hurt or just he just pinned me and then did it again, right? So I'm like, no, stick with what works. Win this fucking thing. This is a big deal. You don't want to be this comeback story for Larry. So fourth round or the 6th round, now it's 3-2. Like I said, I just came out and set up. You can tell if you know arm wrestling, you know what I'm doing. I'm setting up for a press. I have my shoulder all the way behind it, right off the go. Press. I beat him 4-2.
So in the last one, you're talking. He could see that you were set up. You were projecting what you're going to do. You're saying,
I telegraphed exactly what I was doing. I was saying, try and stop me, big dog.
Yeah, here I come. Do what you can, but I'm going to beat you anyway. That's fucking.
Yeah, and he couldn't do it.
That's straight fucking savage, brother. That's savage shit right there.
It was a fucking surreal moment. I tell you what, because like I'm like all these motherfuckers. There wasn't anyone that was like online. You know, again, like people bitch online more than they compliment, right? Yeah. So everyone online was just talking the shit. So I was so happy after I beat him. I was like, oh motherfuckers, I can't wait. I can't wait. And of course, you know how the internet is. Then everyone's just talking shit. He cheated. This will not. Oh my god. Shut the fuck up. So
you're like, no, he was smart.
Yeah, you know, I played the game the right way. So I win that match. I'm on cloud 9. We get home. It took 32 hours to get home from Dubai. It was a fucking nightmare.
Jesus
but
Christ.
we finally, and it was funny because me and my wife were thinking, like, man, imagine if I had lost doing this 32-hour trip home.
that would have been a different journey for sure.
I might not have made it out of Greece, man. Like when we were in Greece, some TSA motherfucker was testing me, dude, and I was like, man, this. My wife's like, Dave, we're not in the United States. Like, don't get arrested here. And I'm like, fuck, man, you're right.
The world's longest walk of shame.
Yeah, that would have been horrible, right?
Yeah,
so we finally get home. And then now, I took like a month off of like that crazy training. I just got right back into it. Now I'm on like kind of a weight loss journey, or I don't know if you want to call it that. It sounds pretty gay, but I'm just trying to get into a healthier weight. I did that match with Larry. I got up to 320 pounds for that match. I was walking around at 300, when I, induced the PEDs and then, not training as hard because you're in that peaking phase and we're kind of recovering and acclimating stuff. I got up to 320. I didn't like being that weight again. It kind of reminded me of powerlifting where I was kind of miserable. So I was like, I don't need to be this big for arm wrestling. It's maybe when I get to a higher level arm wrestling, the weight might be more relevant. But right now, endurance is kind of my game, and health is number one. How many guys have we seen die over the last few months? Even it just started getting to me where I was like, being 300 pounds year round is not good on your heart. I don't need to be doing this, especially for arm wrestling. I'm not squatting big weight anymore or anything like that. So I'm down to 287 pounds this morning. My end goal weight is to be 275 and comfortable, like full, like not like depleted. I can get 275 in a couple of days, but it's not gonna feel good, right? So that's kind of where I'm at mentally. I'm competing in a couple of weeks at the LA Fit Expo at their UAL arm wrestling tournament, which is a very big tournament. I would be astonished if I did top 5, even more happy if I did top 3. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just all my whole focus, like you can tell, is just all in arm wrestling. I train 3 times a day for it. It's a different style of training than powerlifting. Luckily, I'm able to use the knowledge I gathered from powerlifting and apply those principles to the muscle portion of arm wrestling. But then there's a lot more tendon training and elbow integrity and things like that building up, which are a little different than what I'm accustomed to. I'll tell you what. Arm wrestling's cool because you don't have to put 1,000 pounds on your back to win competitions and shit like that. But it's very painful in the elbows. It's some of the most painful shit. If you've ever just arm wrestled some random schmo at the bar, you know how bad you're hurting in the next few weeks.
So check this out. This was a long fuck. I'm 50 years old. So this would have been 25 years ago. So a bunch of my buddies and I, we had this little get together in Lake Tahoe. And it was all kind of buddies from high school. And at that point, I'm fucking enormous compared to everybody else, And one of my buddies had been arm wrestling. He's like, I didn't really know he was doing it competitively. He said, hey, let's arm wrestle. So I'm like, okay. So he gets me on this table. And, dude, I swear to God, I thought he broke my fucking elbow. I mean, it was just one time. Because he told me afterwards, he goes, he was just like fucking taking candy from a baby. He locked you up and he started pulling me across the table. So he was all tight. And I was all fucking way out here. Yeah. And he just, dude, I couldn't, I swear to God, I thought for sure something was wrong. It probably took me well over a month to be able to do a bench press, a press, even like some sort of a back exercise. So I got a real quick snippet on what that shit does to your elbow. And I'll tell you, that's the last fucking time I arm wrestled. Fuck that shit.
Hurts. I would say for those that are powerlifters or watching this that understand that world, it'd be comparable to elbow pain from low bar squatting, but just amplified much worse and then much more long. You know what I mean? It's like that dull, kind of like a toothache, just throb.
And when someone knows what they're doing, they don't. Like my buddy that beat me, he was goating me because I'm, 250, 260, 260, whatever it was. He was like 175 pounds.
Sure.
He just fucking destroyed me because he knew the technique, but it's crazy. Yeah, I was
your buddy's analogy.
Yeah,
because when I first started arm wrestling, there was like those little turds that would try to beat up on me too. But then like, Spoto or the guys like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? The guy just started. Don't be doing that shit to him. We don't want him hurt and not want to do the sport. So if any of you guys out there are interested in arm wrestling, just make sure you get with the right team and you get with someone that's experienced and knows what they're doing. You can find clubs on Facebook, Instagram, all this shit. They're all over the place. And then get someone that knows what they're doing to help you. Like I'll get guys and we'll start with them. And, you're not going over 50% power for the first couple months. And you're going to thank me very much after. Again, of course, you're going to meathead out and do it a couple times, be very sore. And like, see, that's why we're not doing that. And this is what we're working on to kind of build that elbow integrity up. Don't get me wrong. You're still going to be fucking sore. But if you have someone that's smart and cares about you, they'll make sure that we minimize that as best as possible.
Yeah.
So I saw you met Sandra.
Sandra?
Yeah. I saw you hooked up with her and was like arm wrestling with her.
Oh, Sarah Backman.
Sarah, that's it. Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a monster, dude. She's incredibly strong. Yeah, dude, Sarah Backman is an 8-time world champion. She's originally from Sweden. She's been in the United States now in Florida, I think, for like five or 6 years, something like that, maybe a little longer. Gorgeous blonde, just a total bombshell. And it was funny, the first time we meet her, this is when I still had the gym. She had her gym and she sees Jenny. She's like, oh my God, Brendan, she's like a Viking. And I was like, hey, if you want to take her for a little spin, by all means, you know what I mean? That dream did not come true, though, unfortunately.
No, Jesus Christ. That's funny.
But what's it like hooking up with her and locking hands with her? Because her technique is frightening.
Yeah, she feels like pulling a very strong 170-pound dude. Like Sarah Backman is at such an elite level of arm wrestling that there's not a female in the States that compares to her. She just had a super match at King of the Table 3 versus Gabby from Brazil. Gabby beat her. I have not met Gabby personally. I've talked to her online. From what I hear, Gabby is by far the strongest female ever to live to arm wrestle. Just a mutant strength, very broad and strong. But I pulled the second strongest girl in the world, and that would be Sarah Backman. And I tell you what, she would beat most guys in her weight class, no doubt about it. Like
that's fucking killer, dude.
Yeah, and just her explosive technique and everything like that. Like you can learn so much from her because she's got just so much experience. But it was like I said, I'm so fortunate to be who I am and my accomplishments from powerlifting because it's given me so much access. I'm now good friends with Devin Larrett, Monster Michael Todd. Just all these top name arm wrestlers who are the guys. They're my buddies. They come over to my house when they're in town. Just had Michael Todd over here 2 days ago. And we're arm wrestling in my backyard and doing a workout in the gym. So, and then whenever Devin's in town from Canada, Devin makes sure he comes by and we have a big practice. So, I'm super lucky, super thankful. The strength world is everyone's so cool in it in terms of like the top dogs. Everyone's so cool in it. Well, obviously we have our trolls, right? But which sport doesn't? The top dogs. Everyone's so cool. And being where we're at, Nick, in Vegas, we're so central and lucky because everyone comes to Vegas at least once a year, right? Or at least most people.
Oh, yeah.
So you get an opportunity to meet up with all these amazing athletes from all walks of life and all sports. And then having the gym makes it even easier. Now they need a place to train when they're in town. Hey, here I am.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't own the gyms anymore. During COVID, it was pretty impossible to run a facility that required foot traffic when half the country was afraid to leave their house and the other half was snitching on you, trying to get you arrested for running your business and making a living. It was a rough time to be a gym owner. So I was, eating 10 grand a month out of pocket, keeping the lights on and with no one able to come in. And I had a good buddy that was interested in buying the gym from me, and I didn't hesitate. We made it happen. So they rebranded everything. I didn't sell my brand. The Filthy Power is still my brand. I still sell merch and do all that. But it's now called Sin City Iron. It's I would say they put money into the gym that I never would have in terms of that. It's got all elite FTS equipment. It's the baddest fucking gym.
That's killer.
No doubt.
That's
and then my little gym up north, I would have continued running that, but the landlord didn't want to re-sign the lease with me. And mind you, I live in Boulder City now, which is about an hour from where I used to live.
Yeah, it's a long drive.
As far as you can possibly go southeast, that's where I live compared to where we used to live. So right on Lake Mead. Yeah. So it didn't make sense for me to open another facility up there because I would never be there. And the gyms, they make a little money, but they're more of a place for you to make money at rather than having a huge turnover in the month. So I just decided to close it, and I have probably the sickest garage gym next to Nick Best that Vegas has ever seen. I'd say ours are comparable. Mine's definitely better for strongman. Mine's definitely better for powerlifting and arm wrestling. I got up to 150-pound dumbbells, leg press. I got everything. I got everything in my garage gym, and my clients actually didn't mind the transition from just driving from that gym to my house now. So my clients come here to the house. We train them here out of the house, and then I do the online thing. And life is good, man. Life is good. I literally hang out all day. I could smoke weed in the middle of the afternoon if I want to. I get a workout 3 times a day. It's, I can't complain. God has been good to me, and obviously I still have a gorgeous wife. Well,
brother, but keep in mind, you've also been the guy that's done what you've needed to do to get where you want to be. That's
sure.
The key. And on that level, that's a question I want to ask you is that, for our listeners, we really try to inspire them and motivate them to become the best version of themselves. And I think it really helps when they hear the people that we have come and talk about some scenario where you just made it happen, because there's always a reason why you should not do something. But when you really want it, those reasons don't apply. So give us, you probably have a multitude of stories, but give us one that'll kind of, demonstrate, there's no, when you want it, you go get it. There's no excuse. There's no reason.
Again, I'm typical millennial kind of growing up. Like you kind of think there's no opportunity. It's already been done. There's no way to make it in this world like that. Didn't really understand how things went until I got into strength. And then I realized everything's earned. You need to earn everything you get. And the lessons I learned through strength training, I started applying to principles of making money, of finances. Yep, so that's it. There's no one, you're not going to get this fucking handout. There's never going to be this light bulb that clicks that, this is how I'm going to do it, or some great opportunity. It's the same thing as weight training. Consistency and showing up every fucking day, no matter what. Sick, sore, whatever. You show up. You make it happen, and that's going to help develop you to be a better businessman. It helped to make me a better powerlifter. I just apply the same principles. It was hard for me to understand. Like when I have friends like Jay Cutler, I look at him and be like, how? How did he get there? But I'm seeing the end goal. I didn't see the scrawny 17-year-old kid that busted his ass and got to that level, stayed on top of everything. So I realized I'm like, oh shit, I'm not there yet. I'm in this infancy stage. I need to do all, and of course, I'm not Jay Cutler's level, maybe one day, but I knew I had a lot of groundwork to do to get me to there. So with what I do, anyone can do. I work from home. I write programs. I do program development, strength training, strength and conditioning. I educate myself on a daily basis. I always have a podcast on. I always am watching videos. I'm constantly learning. And then I'm constantly working. I'm doing something. I'm always on my phone, checking videos, critiques, cold messaging people on Instagram. Hey, you interested in some programming for me? Hey, you interested in some coaching? Or, you know what I mean? You got to put in the work, man. And it's never just going to happen. People think that we have it easy. My wife will tell you there's not a moment that I'm not on my fucking phone. I'm sure it drives her crazy at times, but then it also makes her happy to know, well, hey, I'm still at home all day and I'm going to do this from home. And it beats the hell out of me doing construction like I used to do.
And you got you got a great life that you love. That's the biggest key.
Yeah.
I love my life. I couldn't have anything better. Maybe like we'd love to have a child. That might not be in our cards, but that's kind of like the only thing I don't have. That other than that, my life is perfect. I love where I live. I love my house. I love my wife. I love my job. I love my friends, my clients. It's awesome, man. And I have to remind myself from this at times, guys. Like, mind you, I'm not this happy-go-lucky fucking dude. Always smell my own farts. Depending on my diet, they could smell pretty good at times. My wife,
I love the smell of my own brand. Everybody loves the smell of their own brand.
I'm on that vertical diet. It smells like sweet carrots.
Just pull it up,
Yeah, so just on that point, like there's days where I'm down. There's days I'm down on myself. I'm like, what am I fucking doing, man? Maybe I need to just go apply at the city, go get a real job. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I think, what the fuck are you talking about? Go answer to somebody, have their schedule that some tell you when to do. Yeah. Fuck that. You know what I mean? I like doing what I want to do. If I want to drink a White Claw by the fucking pool on a Tuesday, I can. You just know if you want what I have, you can have it. You just need to apply yourself, and it's not going to happen overnight. There's been many times where I was living on top ramen and the cheapest sirloin steaks and ground beef that they have to offer for many, many years, and that's all I could afford, and white rice and everything. And and just what it was, and now I can eat whatever I want. I can, granted, I eat very clean. We fall both on the vertical diet by Stand Effort. I'm sure you guys are familiar. Every meal is accounted for. We save a ton of money doing it that way, and our health is better because of it. But again, if I wanted to go eat out for dinner every night, I could. And that's I'm not bragging. I'm just saying you could do this too. I know there's guys out there listening right now that are struggling, that may not know where their next meal is coming from, or they don't know if they're going to be able to keep the power on. And I've been there for many years.
Yeah.
And the reason why I got out of it is because I kept showing up.
Yes, that's it. That's it. I was going to say that if you condense what you just said is you got to get in it and you got to keep fucking going. No matter how fucking bad it hurts, no matter how dark it seems, you got to keep going because one day the lights fucking turn on.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're an overnight success with 15 years in the making, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knew about you yesterday, but it took 14 years to get there. Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes it takes 30. 35.
Not everyone figures it out soon. And I've been fortunate to have the platform that I have, and I got young guys that look up to me and reach out, and I do what I can to help them and kind of mentor them. I got a couple guys who I give them advice I wish I had when I was in my early 20s. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned the hard way what a 1099 was when I started my first business when I was 20 years old. And it took me 3 years to pay the taxes on that because I just, again, you don't learn these things. You know what I mean? In school, no one tells them to. You got to fucking learn it on your own. And
what do you mean? I got to pay taxes? What's up with that?
What the fuck is that all about? It's bullshit. America. You learn what America's all about. So I do what I can to help the younger guys. If you're one of those younger guys listening, shoot me a DM, man. There isn't a DM I don't respond to that isn't a homosexual or some weird shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, on that level, give the youngsters, anybody up and coming, whether it be whatever, anything, strength, arm wrestling. What would be a piece of advice you would give to any of the youngsters coming up right now?
So if you're an arm wrestler, understand this. Levon was you at one point. Devin Larrett was you at one point. Any of these guys that you look up to, Jay Cutler was you at one point. Daniel Bell was you. They were all this lost, kind of confused young guy who knew they wanted to make something of themselves in the fitness industry, but didn't really fucking know what their niche was or how to do it. So if they could do it, you could do it. And like I said before, I'm going to reiterate it. Show up every fucking day and don't sell yourself short and don't be complacent and have confidence. My hardest thing when I first started coaching people, I'm like, well, shit, I don't know as much as Chad Wesley Smith. Who am I to be coaching people? Sure, but there's guys that don't know fucking dog shit, you know what I mean, in terms of the lowest level onto that. So I'm not going to be coaching Chad Wesley Smith's Stan Efferding's. I'm coaching lower level guys that have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm going to help educate them and take them to a higher level. Yeah. So be confident in what you do. And like I said, show up every day, man. Do the work.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, brother. So here's a question for you. So we got a time machine. You can climb in this motherfucker and you can dial in the date, the time, the year, and you can go back and you can talk to yourself. You can give yourself one piece of advice. What time in your life do you go and what do you say to yourself?
Don't buy that 8-ball, Brandon. It's not worth it. We're talking about last Tuesday, right? How far back can I go?
Hopefully a lot of these youngsters don't know what that is, and we're good.
So probably so something I just saw Ray Williams, I'm sure we know who he is, say recently, it's better to be a smart lifter than it is to be a strong lifter. Now, you may say lifting, is that really something you would have went back to your younger self? And I would say yes, it would, because it formed who I was as an adult and through a lot of my life and things I still struggle with to this day. Like I said earlier, I'm tougher than I am smart. Had I just had a different approach to things and maybe lifted smarter and made smarter business decisions, less risky, a bunch of things, smarter training decisions, I may not be in the situation I'm now with busted hip. I can't really squat big weight anymore. I don't know if I ever will be able to. I think I would have saved myself a lot of agony if I just was smarter about things and not such an egomaniac and such a meathead. This is something I tell myself to this day, though. I struggle with this because,
How far back in time do you go to tell yourself this? How old are you when you talk to yourself?
Probably 20. Because before 20, I was still kind of stupid. At 20, I'm still very stupid. Don't get me wrong. But before that, I started lifting when I was 12 years old, mind you. My uncle's a pro bodybuilder. I addicted to it at a young age. I love seeing friends I haven't seen in a while. I'm like, dude, your chest. Oh, my God. I love hitting PRs, you know what I mean, and binging and stuff like that. But at 20 is where I was kind of like an adult, where I made some mistakes when I was a kid, paid for them, and then now I kind of have my life and need to figure some things out and how I'm going to move forward in life. And I just wasn't very smart. I did everything very dumb and brute, where had I had smarter approaches to things, was more conscious of my health, didn't abuse the PEDs as hard when I was young, maybe this issue that I'm dealing with not having a kid right now would be a different story. It's something that it's been a hard pill to swallow, but one that I put on myself, and I have only myself to blame. So, being smarter would have been better. Less is more. Don't try to do it all today. Everything takes time. It's the most cliche thing I heard when I was a kid was it's a marathon, not a sprint. Never could have been more true. Never could have been more true. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, I might have said that a time or two.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've told me that for sure.
Well, I mean, it's a weird mentality because when you show up to train, you got to sprint, but you got to realize that you got to sprint every day and you got to set that pace so you can do it for decades on end. And that's the trick is that most people never see a single decade, rather 2 or 3. And it's a tough thing to balance.
I didn't live for like the next month. I was living day to day. I redlined everything I did. Like you said, I didn't get to where I was at on accident. I was pretty crazy, but I think I could have got here without it, without going so hard and without pushing things so far. And maybe maybe would have took me a little longer. You know what I mean? Which here we are in the grand scheme of things. Life's long. Life's not this. Life is short on an aspect, but the longevity is better. And I wish I had a longer career without all the injuries, but it is what it is. I can't change those things. All I can do is be thankful for what I have. All I can do is try to better myself as a man every day and be the best husband possible. And, God's been good to me, and hopefully it continues going that way.
That's it, brother. That's it. Well, we've had you on here for over an hour, but I still got one more question before we wrap this baby up. So,
let's hear it.
I mean, you've had such a huge impact. With you being here, your impact on other people in the sports you've done is huge. So there's no question you've left a mark. So once the physical part of you is gone, what is it that you want to be remembered for? What is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be?
I would love for everyone to remember me as the kind of balls to the wall, down motherfucker, didn't really care, but of everything, I always put my wife number one. I've had access to all these beautiful women through social media and stuff like that. And luckily I've never been one to act on it. And I don't know what the reason is. I just think that if you can't value the person that you supposedly love and live with, how can anyone respect you as a human being? If I have a friend that I know is promiscuous with their significant other, that's no longer my friend. Because how the fuck is he going to be loyal to me? So I wish that I remember me as being a down-ass motherfucker that always put his wife as number one. And if more people did that, we would probably be in a better country today.
Yeah, we would definitely, if we got rid of infidelity, we would have a much different society than we currently live in today. I agree with you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Well, that's fucking awesome. Well, brother, I got to tell you, you were one fucking awesome guest. And the best part about it is I only went through like 2 of the questions I had, so you're definitely going to be a part 2er. You're definitely going to be a part 2er.
Fuck yeah, dude! I'd love to come back on, man. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys even considering me. This is a great opportunity for me. I don't say no to podcasts. I don't care if the guy has 10 followers or 10,000 or whatever. I love doing them all. I love conversating about sports, like-minded people. As soon as Nick asked me, I was like, me, little me. I'm like, all right, yeah, dude, let's do this.
You.
All right, Nick knows what he's getting himself into. So, all right, if he wants to know, let's do it, man. So, super thankful for you guys. I appreciate the opportunity and extending your platform to me and giving me the chance to ramble on for an hour talking about something I like the best myself.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. If we can't wrap up on that, I don't know what else to say. Jesus Christ, brother, you were totally awesome today. I can't wait for the next one. Yeah, this is going to be just straight up. This is just straight up adventures of Brandon Allen. You're always going to have something crazy to talk about.
I got some stories.
I got some stories, man. That's what I said. We just scratched the tip of the iceberg on this show. This is
yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir. There's a lot more under the beard that can be revealed. So anytime you guys want me back on, you let me know. And any of you guys out there listening, if you want to reach me in any way, you can find me on Instagram. It's Brandon Allen, Filthy Power, one word. My YouTube channel is the same. If you're more interested in powerlifting, I think Instagram is probably the best way. If you're more interested in arm wrestling, YouTube is the same, Brandon Allen, Filthy Power. I put out content daily, weekly. And if you shoot me a DM, most likely I'll respond. And if you need to email me for some training, hit me up at filthypowerprogramming@yahoo.com.
And on that level too, just so everybody knows, our producer Ben is going to basically get with Brandon after the show and put all the links and all the ways to contact him. So if you want to get in contact with him, it'll be in the notes in the show. So however he wants you to get a hold of him, we'll have it there for you. So
cool.
All right, brother Nick, you
got
the
man has been there and done that.
That's right. You got anything for Brandon before we wrap this baby up?
Oh, I just miss you, bud. I mean,
I miss you too, brother. Man, it sucks. We live so close, but so fucking far now.
Yeah, I know. It's like an hour. It's like an hour apart, but it's okay. Yeah. I'll get out to Boulder City to come train with you one of these days.
I'd love it, man. You hit me up.
I'm not doing arm wrestling.
You're gonna get on the table. You're gonna have to get on the table.
Oh, I love it.
Not with my elbows. But I'll mess around. I'll grab a hold of your hand and we'll call it.
You know what actually would be interesting, Nick, though, is just doing arm wrestling specific workouts with you, like ways that we gauge strength in arm wrestling without actually getting on the table that's going to hurt your elbow. There's other stuff we can do that we do as arm wrestlers that we value the lifts. I just know from your background you're going to be a monster at a lot of them. I'd love to see it.
All right, let's do it. That'll be fun.
Set that up.
Heck yeah.
It sounds like it would probably really strengthen your elbows too, Nick.
Yeah, which is something I would gleefully take. So
yeah.
It's like anything, right? Like being a swimmer is great for you, but being a high class swimmer probably isn't as healthy for you, right? Like doing maybe some little bit of arm wrestling stuff here will help your elbows. Doing it at the highest level is going to fuck them up.
Then it tears them up. Yeah, that's right.
John, if you're ever in Vegas, man, expect a call, brother.
Oh, absolutely. Let's fucking do it, brother. You're a fucking cool cat, man. I can only imagine what it'd be like fucking doing this in person.
It would be fun.
It's fun.
I love it.
It is not boring.
That's it. Well, there you have it, everyone. There's another edition of Legends of Iron. We are here to help inspire you and become the best version of yourself. And if Brandon Allen did not get your ass out of your chair, I don't know who will. So thanks for coming on, brother. We appreciate you. And there's another edition of Legends of Iron. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mix.
Eating like a bodybuilder is not cheap. I mean, have you seen the recent cost of steaks lately? Thankfully, I'm able to get all my meals in and hit my macros for just a fraction of the price with Carnivore Lean Meal, MuscleMed's newest innovative whole food meal replacement.
Compare Carnivore Lean Meal to a typical bodybuilding meal. Carnivore Lean Meal stacks up in protein and carbs with none of the fat, but a carnivore shake is only about $3 per meal.
Get my 6 meal in. This is what I use right here. This is meal number 6. It's my Carnivore Lean Meal. It's a combination of carbs combined with protein. It's actually made from real sweet potatoes and white potatoes, so can't beat that. Tastes awesome. Love that product. And to top it all off, guys, it's lactose-free and sugar-free. Stop overpaying for your meals and eat clean with Carnivore Lean Meal. It's better than any meal you can cook yourself at a fraction of the price.